And take my little on-the-go EDC kit here. Oh, nice little unexcelled slip joint in there, lock back, little spinner. You got to have a spinner in your video. It's 2017, brah. Spinners, you know, I could just quit doing videos and just do videos on spinners, and my channel would be way more successful view-wise. Yeah, that's the state of where we're at right now on YouTube. What about like a recurve Bowie something? Okay, I like this. I like where this is going. What I would like to do is probably drop this down, this grind line. Make this pair up with this, and then have like a fuller cut in here for like a thumb pad groove thing. Then this would have a lot of cool texture right there, and then make that run parallel to that. So this is not a through hole, this is like a thumb groove where you could grab it with your thumb. Now we got a blade shape that looks pretty cool. Very inspired by like a trapper style recurve something, but some of the old slip joints actually did have a lot of belly like this and come back for a recurve. This is a pretty large knife already. The other video did a lot better than I thought it was going to, the sketching. Because again, you could just see how it would be, you know, a waste of time, for somebody to view a video like this. I do have to tell you, I caught a comment by somebody the other day on that video, and it said that they wanted to try to make their, you know, to go do this right now. Sketching their own knives, and I think that's an awesome idea. I like doing it even if nothing comes out of it, more for like puzzle. It's almost like you know how some older folks do like word searches and stuff like that to like puzzle their brain. It's like a self-made puzzle. You're trying to make something that would mechanically work, meaning that the blade would actually fold up into the handle. You still have to figure out how the lock and then how the pivot and the geometry of how all of that fits in. And when it folds, does this corner, when it folds, kick way out of the handle out here? Do you bring the guard down more? Or how does all that tie together in a knife design? And I think exercises, even like this, if nothing comes out of it, I'm not a big fan of this right now. So if this was a complete waste of time as far as anything productive from myself, I think it's a pretty cool exercise to do. So when I was a child, learning how to draw vehicles, cars, because that's really what I would say my specialty is. Not too much of an artist. If I had to draw people or like monsters and stuff, I can do it, but it's not great. But I learned by tracing on a window. So you hold up your piece of paper. I would get some masking tape and tape it to the window, and then I take my other piece of paper and go over top of it, and then through the window with light coming through, you can trace it. So you don't actually need a light table. It makes it a lot better, but you certainly don't need it. I don't know. I had something better in mind for this. This is cool to me. This is very generic and garbage. I really didn't want to go too much farther with this because I want to try just different things. But you could just do this. And then just, without even trying to do all this and take your time, you could just sketch on different handles. Maybe give it some more rake so the general belly line of the knife comes down like this. And when you hold on to this, that would give you that negative blade angle, which would work really nice with this belly in this here. So possibly just bend this knife a little bit at the pivot, you know, drop this handle down to about here. Then you might really be looking at something a little more aggressive, something with more cutting power, and something that would actually change the overall looks of the knife to be something that you thought was okay to something that's really awesome. You see what I'm saying? How you can pull that handle down. That's all part of that puzzle process, figuring out if everything will fit and what you like. Because I also feel like little exercises like this really helped myself understand how hard it actually is to design a knife. I'm thinking, just to show you what I was talking about. So now we got the profile like this. Here's the clip. We don't want that belly so great. Come down like this. And then we have that mill, like thumb groove line cut like this. And then that would carry on out of here. And then this would be swedged down. So this swedge would have a cool like cut in it. And then when you looked at this knife from straight on like this, that would look really cool. We've got enough room for a lock. And you can see how just tweaking that blade angle down changed the whole look of this knife. Now that's something I would keep refining and working with there. Maybe that's a little too radical, but you can see how that would put all that pressure when you're cutting with this knife right in this sweet spot right here. In theory, you know, you never know until it's actually built and you have a prototype and you're actually using it. And you still don't know. We would have to do that light table like we did last time and see if this blade would even fold into this and if we could modify this handle a little more and this and that. Let's try to design a Spyderco. Why not? This looks very Spyderco-like. Smaller EDC Spyderco. Some sort of bullnose something up there. So a reinforced tip. Lots of belly. Very pointy. It's always fun to me to start with different areas first. So maybe I'll draw what I would think would be a dream handle, like my Grail handle to hold, or my Grail blade profile and shape, and then figure the rest out later. You know what I mean? Start with the blade and then go to the rear end. Or sometimes start with this, or sometimes start with a whole overall profile, what you're thinking, and then figure out how to get it to fold. Let's just see real quick, just show you. So I'm starting off with the profile here, what I think would be cool. Now the challenge and the puzzle part would be to try to get this to fold. I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. Probably way too wide to be practical. Let's carry on this idea of this up here. We'll see what we can do here. This might come out better than expected. So I'm thinking I dig this little swedge right here. Not little, this thing is huge, huh? Dig that. Let's put the fuller in here first. Let's just get some lines established for that big old fuller. Now mind you, this line will get broken up visually because this is gonna be in right here. Give a little bit of texture to the overall blade. So we established some lines here. Let's establish some grind line. People don't really notice it, but if you look at a well-designed anything, it usually has continuity that pivots up way too much. We don't have to come up here. Again, this is the puzzle aspect of it. So maybe that grind would have to come. I don't know. We're going to have to figure that's a problem. We're going to have to figure that out. Let's just see if we can get a decent style handle on here with some sort of guard. About like a flipper? No? Yeah, I don't like that at all. Remember, you have to leave space here when you're playing around. Otherwise, when this tang of the blade folds around, your tang's going to be sticking out, and that's not good. So this will not work. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I like this more aggressive, coming down like this. So maybe meet here. And then not swoop so much. It's garbage. I hate it. Let's go back up to this one. I'm thinking this space here, tang will be about right here. It'd be okay, which would be okay for the frame lock. We gotta have a frame lock line in here somewhere. What if this carried around? And this. What if we pull it down right there to kind of just give a little bit of interest to the back of this. Put a little point right here. You'd have to just play around on a light table and really see what happens when you fold it around. That's the puzzle part. That's the part I like about it. If you're designing fixed blades, you have a lot more creative freedom. Let's see what we could do for like a fixed blade real quick. I'm gonna design an overall, I don't know why I'm feeling clip points. Something very aggressive. We could do one of those silly ringed type folders and pull it into the grind line here. So this comes here, here. Make this follow parallel with whatever the top of this profile would be. Now you have sharpened edge all the way up to here, and you can stick your finger in here. Now look how much edge you could pack into this thing. And then you need enough room for your hand. My hand comes down to about here. I'm thinking some sort of pistol grip something here. Look at that, another fantasy knife. And this could be your pinky. Let's do a little stinger on the end of it, huh? And this could be for your thumb when you hold it like this. We'll put a little ramp on the back of that. Oh, do. Skeletonize that, bro. Could do like a cross brace in here or something. Make that follow this ring hole here. This follows all the way around, all the way around. Of course, you'd have to figure out sizing for this. Maybe go all the way and just put points on it. And then sell them in the Frost Knives catalog. It's still fun though. And you can still learn. Look how we took this profile. This is a cool profile. This line right here, playing around and being stupid. Let's see if we can change that into something cool. I like how this is slanted forward. It's got like that aggressive look to it. A little bit of bend in it. Let's do this. Let's try to not so cartoony it. This is gonna come up. This comes down to match that. And then this is gonna come down here. And our overall profile is gonna be raked like this. Just boxing it in to see what we're working with here. Let's keep going with that fuller idea that we had on the other drawing right here. This little thing. Let's put a fuller on here just for fun. Right? Let's put the grind about right here. This is gonna follow that fuller straight. Let's make this a little aggressive, pull it back just a little bit. This gives this enough time to roll in for a nice little swooping plunge. Some sort of sharpening notch here. This comes here. I'm guessing the pivot would have to be about right here. Let's see about how long this handle would have to be. And I'm thinking this is gonna have a lot of negative angle, so it needs to be about right here. It's gonna fold into there. I'm thinking something fighty and fantasy, and just if this just has this thumb fuller here, we're gonna have to make it a flipper. So again, straight off here. It depends, we'd have to keep playing on a light table, but let's just put the flipper somewhere like right here. And the handle about right here, where your eye wants to take you here. Be careful on the finger groove. Problem is, I love Hinderers so much that as soon as I start to try to solve this little puzzle that's right here, I just always go, why not just roll it into a finger choil? And why not? You know, if you're already gonna have a sharpening notch on there, you really don't lose that much cutting edge to put a little finger choil. Especially you could skinny up that flipper a little bit. I don't know. It's just how I seem to do. Now we've got finger groove here. How would we end this handle? Let's see if this line comes through. Would you buy this knife? Something like it? Or is that too much? That's too thick, huh? That's cool though. Maybe not so much the handle. You would have to do some sort of body lines on this thing. You could actually, if you wanted to, carry this fuller design right here. Carry it through some sort of design element of a mill in the handle. Do you know what I mean? If I had a ruler, which I don't when I sketch, I'd rather be a lot more loose and free-flowing. And then this could be like a fuller put in the handle. So the back side of this knife would be the same as that. If this was a little bit too much of a hot spot right here, you could roll a floating, it could be a floating backspacer, but you could roll a backspacer up and protrude it a little bit and then have it like jimped or something. And you could make this line a little more subtle, rounded, right? And then this would have the jimping. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't be that sharp, but then visually your mind's saying that this handle is shaped the way it is. If I had a Sharpie, that'd be better. Let's just see if my fountain pen will go over this thing. Let's just outline this real quick, see where it goes. So I can show you out after all that sketching what the main idea is. And keep in mind, I didn't play on the light table to see if this would all fold and stuff, but this is just as a concept of a profile for a knife. What I'm saying is visually in your mind, you still see this point right here. But in your hand, you would still have the benefit of this little rounded in your feel of your palm. And this is just a rough idea for the frame lock. I just draw these in here, you know, just to give myself an idea of about where everything will be folding up. And again, that's all just guessing at this point. I would envision this blade some sort of hollow ground blade. These lines are really shaky and shoddy right here. Keep in mind this fuller theme, how this would be like a milled fuller. I'd carry that fuller all the way through here just as a visual design element. Just pull that down like this. I want a visual how this is pointy. I kind of want that same point coming through right here, but I wouldn't want it make it a hot spot. But if you can see, in my mind's eye, I think that this is proportional because of the way, this sounds a little crazy. See how this knife has this whole raked down look? If we go up to this silly sketch here, it kind of has this wedge style profile. And then we also slanted a few of these lines forward. For like this grind line is slanted forward, right? We've got a few slants here. There's really not many straight lines besides this big fuller design element here. Which sometimes straight lines and organic lines work really well together because it like gives it that visual contrast. It's hard to explain, but I think some of you guys understand what I'm trying to say. And maybe I'm just an idiot too. That's always possible. I do have a little bit of formal training in graphic design. So I have taken college courses and kind of understand just on my own what I feel. I try to identify what I like about certain shapes. Whether it's a Coke bottle, whether it's signage for a certain restaurant or something like that. Like why does why does it seem pleasurable to the eye, if that can make sense? Just for fun, let's see if this profile would even fold in here. I think it would. I might buy something like that if there's not a design that's already out like that. There may be, I don't know. Let's just see real quick here, just for fun. So if you want to be quick and you have a light table or a window, you can just kind of, I would draw where the handle is going to be, right? The pivot, because you got to have somewhere to put your pencil down. This doesn't have to be exact. And you don't even have to draw the handle, just to see. because the handle is going to show through on the light table. Let's draw the flipper on there too. Let's just for fun see about, and then you could even rake this forward, kind of like, because it's in my pocket, how an SNG, you see how this is raked backwards? You don't necessarily have to have this portion of the blade come up and meet like a square. You can cut it down like that. All right, so let's see if this will fold. The moment of truth. Here we go. This is gonna go on here. Let's see if it would fold and where that flipper goes. Look at that. Now we could sketch it, sketch that handle, and actually see how this knife looks folded. And for stop pins, somebody made a good point on the other video. There is a reason, and if you've seen my video about why stop pins matter, you would really want to probably keep this blade as thick as you can, where I was just talking about you can rake this angle forward. Probably want to keep it a little thicker here. We definitely have space in the handle design, but you'd want to keep it thicker here. And then this is the huge advantage when I was trying to tell you guys about internal stop pins, is how creative you can get with your designs, and then you can still have a stop pin form, because it's so much different than, let's say, like a hinder. See how this hinder has this stop pin right there? With an internal stop pin, check that. Ooh, video coming on that. With an internal stop pin, you have all sorts of freedom, especially if you have a flipper, because the flipper does not have to clear, see that stop pin? It doesn't have to clear that section. They hinder, you know, look how close he's coming there. It's fine, the design works. When you get to talking about stop pins, something like this would have to have an internal stop pin. If you look, a lot of crazier, the custom knives have internal stop pin. The blade would be milled right here, right? So then this comes around. Let's see about where that stop pin would be. Let's fold this knife up here. Let's put a stop pin, internal stop pin. It's just an idea. Let's put that internal right here. You got plenty of strength wrapped around here in that titanium frame lock. And then you swing this track around like this, which is close enough away from this. And that swings through that groove. And then that track would come around to about right here. Do you know what I mean? Of course you'd have to, this is just very rough design stages, and you'd have to start cutting all this stuff out. I would make this knife out of cardboard, and then I would go to G10, and then I would go to aluminum or something, and then I would go to a steel, you know what I mean? Or you can take this, and then you could start doing CAD work on this that you could play around with. It's a cool mental exercise. And this is about what that knife would look like folded, you know, roughly. And you could keep playing with the flipper. Maybe this flipper is not quite 90 degrees off your pivot here. You know, maybe you'd want your flipper, instead of behind the pivot, maybe you'd want it in front of the pivot. I would suggest that we would do that. So I would move this flipper back. Again, I would keep playing. Maybe that would rake this flipper back a little more. And then we could close up this choil a little more. And now we have this much more blade length, usable blade length. You see what I'm saying right here? So again, that's the stuff you keep further refining. But I hope that this inspired at least somebody out there to get crazy, get silly, do something that you would never do, and then maybe you could start toning the cartooniness, the absurdity of it, and you could tone it down into something that's still kind of cool and kind of has a cooler profile than what you would have normally thought. This one come out pretty cool. I'd have to say I'm pretty proud of that. Maybe there is a knife that's already out. That cold steel doesn't quite look like this. But this is a really very pointy here, not too crazy thick. in proportion, right? It's not even as wide as a SNG. Crazy point on the clip. And I think this fuller design element is really cool if you carried it all the way across here. In a straight line, of course, you know. I would want the same amount of space into here as to here as to here. If you wanted to, you could follow this design element and then break it down and somehow down and follow around here. And then do like straight mill pattern on this. And then keep this plain titanium. Let's just do that, just for fun. Just for fun, let's keep going. Let's keep refining this thing. This wouldn't, what I'm envisioning, this is not quite an inlay, but where the metal, this is full thickness of the handle, the titanium, and then this is milled down just a little bit thinner, maybe an 1/8, maybe a 1/16. Just something to put visual and then do grooves in it or something, just to visually pull your mind around. That way your eyes follow this grind line all the way up and around. And then this is full thickness of the handle here. With the knife folded, do we have enough space for back spacer? Yep, you could put a screw right here, screw right here. Maybe something here. Maybe this would be a back spacer. You know, maybe something comes out just a little bit for a lanyard pin, or maybe you would groove your back spacer here, put a hidden pin inside there, and then you could run your lanyard in and out here if you wanted to. That's a terrible lanyard, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know, you keep playing, and that's where you would keep playing and figuring out exactly what you like and don't like, and solve the puzzle, man. Just keep grinding. Just keep hitting that sketch pad. Play. It's free. This costs 0 money to do, so it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to make these video, guys. I am glad that some of you guys enjoy this type of content. This is awesome to me. I love this. All right. Thanks for hanging out. See ya.